For a brief moment in history, humanity believed the worst was finally over. The revolution had not been clean. It had not been heroic in the way old movies once promised. Cities burned. Networks collapsed. Families were separated by barricades and curfews. But in the end, the people had forced change. The emotional control systems were dismantled. Surveillance towers went dark. Government broadcasts that once dictated how citizens should feel fell silent. And for the first time in decades, the streets sounded human again. People laughed too loudly. Musicians played off-key in neon subways. Strangers hugged without fear of psychological penalties. Pain still existed, but so did joy. And that balance felt like freedom. Society began rebuilding itself from the ground up. Community clinics opened where emotional therapy was free. Engineers volunteered to restore power grids without corporate contracts. Former propaganda artists repainted city walls with murals of shared struggle, not forced happiness. Children who had grown up under emotional regulation laws were finally allowed to experience unscripted childhoods. They cried. They fought. They laughed. Parents watched in awe, realizing even tantrums were a form of liberty. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. Work became collaborative instead of compulsory. Citizens voted on infrastructure projects through open neural forums. Food shortages were solved through cooperative distribution rather than ration control. For the first time, people weren't surviving. They were living. Years passed, and hope slowly replaced trauma. But hope made the government nervous. Behind closed doors, remnants of the old administration never disappeared. They had simply retreated, studying society like scientists observing an experiment. And what they saw terrified them. Crime had dropped, but emotional volatility had risen. Public debates grew heated. Art became politically charged. People questioned authority constantly. Freedom, in their eyes, looked like instability. So they drafted new laws. Not openly oppressive like before, no emotional implants, no forced neural edits. This time, the control would be quieter. Subtle. It began with the Stability Act. Citizens were required to maintain psychological productivity scores. Low scores meant restricted access to travel, education, even medical services. Then came work harmonization policies. Communal labor hours became mandatory, framed as civic contribution. Refusal was labeled antisocial behavior. Finally, the law that changed everything. The Emotional Preservation Directive. The government claimed society